You are 22 years old, and you have finally traded your sleep for a seat at the table where the world is priced. The six-figure salary felt like a fortune until you realized it was actually a down payment on your disappearance, a quiet exchange of your youth for the right to build the models that move the gravity of global capital. You are the invisible architect of the deal, eating cold dinners in a glass tower, while waiting for the day your name finally carries as much weight as the numbers you manipulate. The transition from recent graduate to level 1 analyst is a gauntlet of calculated endurance. At 22, the ink on your undergraduate degree is barely dry, yet you have already weathered a 4-month siege of recruitment. You fired off resumes to 50 different firms, navigated 15 callbacks, and spent 6 grueling weeks mastering the dark arts of the spreadsheet. You spent your nights building complex LBOs on a glowing laptop at 2 a.m., committing industry multiples to memory until they became a second language, and learning to speak of IRR with the fluency of a native. Now that the offer has finally materialized, the reality of the buy side reveals itself as a stark departure from the rigid hierarchies of traditional banking. The office is smaller, the structure more fluid, and while you remain the most junior person in the room, you're suddenly, inexplicably closer to the actual levers of wealth. Your existence is defined by the granular. You dig through mountains of company documents during due diligence to find the one data point that actually matters. You construct the models and draft the memos that senior partners read aloud in high-stakes meetings, though they never mention your name. Your labor is an anonymous contribution, transformed into their insight the moment they speak. For this, you receive a $100,000 base salary, which swells to $150,000 with your bonus. It is a sum that felt monumental until you realized everyone around you is already breathing that same thin air. Life becomes a series of shifts, 65 hours in a light week, 80 when a deal is live. You are a ghost in your own life, inhabiting an apartment that serves as little more than a high-priced storage unit. You eat dinner alone at your desk, a meal the firm graciously covers if you stay past 7 p.m., and keep a fresh shirt in your locker for the nights you simply sleep in the office. This environment is less a workplace and more a psychological greenhouse for a specific type of ambition. Everyone here has survived a personal trial by fire to earn their seat, and everyone is following the same 2-year clock. You are all counting down the days until a top-tier MBA program or a lucrative exit strategy offers a reprieve. Even when your models predict a deal's outcome with 80% accuracy, that precision is a private pride. The only metric the world cares about is whether the deal made money. By age 25, you have ascended to level 2, reaching the rank of associate, whether through an internal promotion or by returning with an MBA in hand, serves as a silent validation of your resilience. You have effectively navigated the first great filter of finance. Your base salary climbs to $150,000, and in a standard year, your total compensation easily clears the $300,000 mark. However, the prestige of the number has shifted. You have moved past the initial shock of the wealth and into a sobering realization of its utility. You finally understand exactly what that money can buy, and more importantly, the parts of a life it can never replace. The evolution of your role means you are no longer just a builder of models. You have become a hunter of opportunities. Your days are consumed by the art of sourcing, spent navigating complex dialogues with brokers and holding the line on calls with investment bankers to dictate exactly what assets you intend to acquire. While the technical weight of modeling still rests on your shoulders, the stakes have transformed. These spreadsheets are no longer theoretical exercises, but the decisive blueprints that tell the firm precisely what to bid, directly steering the company's overarching strategy. You now oversee a junior analyst, perhaps named Alex, who serves as a living mirror reflecting your own image from 2 years ago. Seeing that familiar blend of nerves and excessive questioning is like looking at an old photograph of yourself before the industry left its mark. You are the one now, sending midnight messages demanding a new scenario for the model, delivering the cold feedback they dread, and watching their expression fall as you order a complete redo. The hierarchy is a well-oiled machine where you push execution down to the analyst, verify their output, and then pass it up to an associate, while the principal maintains a final, watchful eye over the entire chain. By now, the blueprint of the industry is laid bare. You're no longer a spectator. You are a fully integrated component of the game. This integration comes at a steep personal cost. Weekends, once a sanctuary, are now vulnerable to the sudden vibration of a Saturday text regarding a potential acquisition, ensuring your Monday morning begins in a sterile conference room. Deal sourcing obeys no clock. It is a phantom that appears without warning, forcing you to miss milestone events and perpetually reschedule dinners. Eventually, your social circle thins as friends stop inviting you to any gathering with a fixed start time, a transition that feels like a fading signal until the silence becomes your new baseline. There is a fleeting sense of triumph when you close your first deal as the true sourcing owner, having brought the opportunity to the table, built the foundation, and presented the winning thesis. Your name finally graces the investment memo. Yet even then, the public glory often flows toward the principal who sold the fund. Only the analysts truly recognize that the deal was yours. 5 years into this journey, encompassing your time as an analyst and associate, you ascend to level 3, the senior associate. At 27, having earned your stripes through a combination of an MBA and raw performance, your financial reality shifts again. With a $200,000 base salary and a total compensation package that can reach $350,000, the money loses its electric thrill and settles into a heavy sense of stability. Yet, this security functions like a gilded cage. The more wealth you accumulate, the higher the walls climb against any prospect of walking away. You are firmly entrenched, and the nature of your labor is beginning to take a different shape. The work has shifted fundamentally. You are no longer merely executing the mechanics of a deal. You are the one originating them. Your days are consumed by the high-stakes theater of relationship management, calling on investment bankers and corporate development contacts to keep the pipeline flowing. You find yourself wining and dining CFOs of target companies, presenting complex investment theses and articulating exactly why your firm is the premier steward for their business. There was a time when you doubted your ability to sell. Yet here you are, moving through these negotiations with a grace that feels almost too easy. You have reached level 4, the vice president. At 30 years old, you have successfully scaled the wall that breaks most associates. You now manage a small army of 5, 2 analysts and the associates beneath them, and you have come to realize that your promotion was less about the money and more about this newfound human leverage. Do you grasp the weight of that shift? Your success is now measured by your ability to make others move. The math of the funnel is relentless. You must touch dozens of companies just to identify 5 that actually matter. Currently, you have 5 warm conversations, 3 of which are serious prospects. A single deal takes 3 months of grueling work to close, and while that clock is ticking, you're simultaneously sourcing the next opportunity, monitoring the existing portfolio, and managing your team. Sleep is a luxury you've traded away. Your body has become a machine recalibrated to function on 4 hours of rest, a physiological transformation that should probably terrify you, yet you find you simply don't care. The compensation reflects this intensity. Your base salary is $250,000, and a strong year can see your bonus clear $400,000. But in the world of private equity, the bonus is merely the bread service before the main course. For the first time, you have carry, a small but real percentage of the profits. This is the skin in the game you've been grinding for. This alignment changes your internal chemistry. When a deal underperforms, you don't just see it on a spreadsheet. You feel it as a physical tightness in your chest. That sensation is the carry talking, reminding you that your own wealth is finally on the line. The gravity of the industry now pulls toward you. Bankers dial your number directly, and corporate development officers loop you into opportunities before they even think of calling the firm's principals. This access is built on a singular foundation: your reputation. In the last 2 years, you have closed 3 deals, and every single one is performing. You have become known as someone who can pick winners, an asset that carries more weight than any technical skill. You are 34 now, and at $350,000 in base salary, reaching level 5 and the director partnership feels like something you can finally touch. Management has become your secondary craft. You oversee 4 direct reports, 2 analysts and 2 associates, deploying them across deals like pieces on a chessboard based on their specific strengths and flaws. You know exactly who will grind until 6 a.m. without a word of complaint and who will push back when the pressure mounts. You are a hard mentor, but an honest one, pushing them to reach the same heights you occupied years ago. It is a cycle of renewal. You invest in the next generation because someone once chose to invest in you. On the investment committee, the air is thinner. You present your deals and defend them with everything you have, even as senior partners systematically poke holes in your logic. You are learning to defend your thesis with more grit while accepting the humbling reality that, occasionally, you will be wrong. Every second of this labor is a trade of your finite time for capital. But the nature of that capital is changing. When a recent IPO triggered a partial vesting of your carry, the 6-figure payout felt different than a standard salary. It felt like your years of sacrifice were finally crystallizing into true ownership. Do you recognize that you're no longer just an employee, but that you are building an empire? Total compensation has hit $600,000. Yet carry is the only number that truly matters. Across your 3 deals, that figure is already in the millions, with one unicorn investment holding enough potential to eventually buy every house you'll ever own. Despite this, the principle above you warns against early celebration. The deals ahead are larger and higher in risk, requiring you to reinvest your own earnings back into the firm's funds. This personal financial risk is the price of admission, the mandatory alignment that ensures you are fully committed as you pivot toward the world of institutional investors. The shift from managing spreadsheets to managing expectations marks a profound evolution in your career, as the faces across the boardroom table change from internal stakeholders to institutional giants. These are the titans of the financial world: pension funds, insurance conglomerates, and massive endowments, who now look to you with a singular, piercing question: can you actually pick the winners? They aren't just interested in your theories. They are betting on your proven track record. When they decide to move, they write checks for $100 million at a time, and the sheer weight of that capital feels fundamentally different than any stake you have handled before. Your primary objective has shifted toward the high-level orchestration of deployment, ensuring that this massive influx of liquidity finds its way into the right deals to keep the cycle of carry accumulating. Yet, as your professional influence expands, the boundaries of your personal world begin to fray. Your children are in school now, hitting milestones that seem to coincide perfectly with the most aggressive deal calls of your life. You find yourself sitting in a glass-walled office, tethered to a conference line, while the clock ticks past the hour you promised to be at the school pickup line. To bridge the gap, you try to explain the complexity of your life to a child, simplifying the high-stakes world of LBOs into the gentle phrase of helping build companies. You offer yourself the internal justification that this grueling pace is a necessity, a sacrifice made at the altar of a greater good. It is like planting a massive oak tree in the center of a garden. You may endure the blistering heat of the sun today, but you are cultivating something sturdy and permanent that will provide shade for your family long after you are gone. In the office, you have ascended to a pivotal leadership role, overseeing a dedicated team of 8 subordinates, including 4 analysts, 3 associates, and a senior VP. You have become the essential middle management translator, the bridge between the raw data of the juniors and the strategic demands of the partners. You spend your days refining their models and sharpening their pitches, ensuring nothing is lost in the transition from technical execution to high-level strategy. This is the grueling, rhythmic reality of Level 5, a world where your $350,000 salary is merely the baseline for a life lived at 100 miles per hour, all to ensure the firm's engine never stops turning. The current fund has evolved into something far more expansive than its predecessors, and your carry has grown in lockstep. At this stage, Your cognitive baseline has shifted. You're no longer calculating in thousands, but thinking exclusively in millions. The concept of wealth, once a distant or hyperbolic term, now feels like a grounded, sober description of your reality. You are the engine of the firm, originating the majority of significant deals. You have become the relationship itself, a state where investment bankers and corporate development officers seek you out directly. There is no longer a need to pitch your own capabilities because your reputation precedes you. You have consistently generated returns for your limited partners, and that track record serves as the only business card you will ever need. Your role has transformed into one of institutional stewardship. You are now the one recruiting the next generation of vice presidents and mentoring the rising directors who will one day take your place. You feel a profound responsibility for the firm because, in every functional sense, you are the institution. Your name is effectively synonymous with the fund, and your face is the primary image on the website. This creates a complex paradox of power. While you possess immense leverage because limited partners might abandon the fund if you departed, that influence is a gilded cage. It is a form of currency that is entirely unusable because there is simply nowhere else to go that offers this level of command. You are living within a high-stakes ecosystem that functions simultaneously as a suffocating trap and a rare, hard-won privilege. Now age 40, you find yourself running a multi-billion-dollar operation, spending half your time on the grueling circuit of fundraising. You have raised $2 billion in this cycle alone, capital that is now yours to deploy. Your investment strategy has matured. You no longer chase minor add-ons, seeking instead the transformative platform companies that can reshape entire industries. You source roughly 3 major deals a year, guided by a refined instinct for spotting the right founders and management teams. You know exactly what a win looks like, yet the personal cost remains steep. While your 2 children are navigating high school, you find yourself missing a championship soccer game because of a critical deal trip to Singapore. You are left watching highlights and receiving updates from your spouse over Zoom. You attend the awards dinner and tell yourself that showing up for the ceremony means you are present when it counts, yet a quiet, persistent doubt questions if that rationalization holds any truth. You carry the crushing psychological weight of a 9-figure payout that only materializes if you execute perfectly, knowing an entire team depends on your success. You feel the crushing weight of these expectations, yet you keep moving forward because, at this height, there is simply no other option. The cycle never stops, it only expands. Now, at 47, you have reached level 7, the partner. You are no longer just a high achiever within your firm. You are at the absolute summit of the entire industry. To understand the rarity of this air, one must look at the numbers. Out of 5 million people navigating the trenches of private equity, perhaps only 150 in the entire country operate at this altitude. Your compensation has become almost an abstract concept, disconnected from any normal measure of labor or value to the point of irrelevance. While your combined base and bonus this year sit at $4 million, your current carry is measured in the tens of millions. Previous funds have already liquidated, yielding payouts in the 9-figure range. You have secured generational wealth, a fortune that behaves like a deep-sea current, immense, powerful, and existing on a scale that both matters and feels strangely detached from daily life simultaneously. Your professional existence has shifted from the tactical to the institutional. As a part owner of the firm, you act as a steward, focusing on the health of the entire organization rather than the minutiae of individual deals. While managing directors handle the intimate details of portfolio companies, you sit on the investment committee, reviewing the major movements and setting the strategic direction. You have personally deployed $15 billion, and your firm manages $30 billion in total assets. This reach has allowed you to create thousands of jobs and generate returns for thousands of institutional investors. One might wonder if such a profound level of impact and success should feel like enough. For the most part, it actually does. However, the cost of this stewardship is ever present. Your eldest child is now in college studying business, yet you have refrained from pushing them toward your firm. You understand the specific toll this industry extracts and the rewards it offers in return. Watching the next generation, you find yourself questioning if this path remains a fair bargain for them. For you, the narrative arc is clear. You began with nothing, and now, in every material sense, you have everything. The path remains visible, as does the steep price required to walk it. While as a toll one would hesitate to recommend to others, there's a quiet admission that nothing about the past would be changed. The deals continue to arrive, driven by a network that hums with activity and a reputation that magnifies every opportunity. After 3 years of pursuing a specific target, the company finally enters the market. Being the first to bid ensures the win. The projected carry on this single transaction is staggering, reaching into 11 figures by the time of exit. This is real, generational money. Per firm requirements, $2 million of personal capital is committed to the deal, a mandatory stake ensuring partners truly believe in what they fund. There is total confidence in the management and the strategic path forward. Yet despite this massive wealth, the work continues at the same grueling intensity. The industry is a wheel that recognizes no final destination. Somewhere, a 22-year-old is finishing their final interviews, having spent 6 weeks building LBOs on a laptop at 2 in the morning. They have memorized every multiple and mastered the language of internal rate of return. With an offer in hand, they have a sensible plan to stay for 2 or 3 years to build their personal brand before exiting to operations. They fly in on a Sunday night, discovering an office and a hierarchy far tighter than they imagined. An email arrives with a project assignment, the laptop opens, and the modeling begins. The deal possesses no empathy for the youth of the analyst, and the financial model refuses to wait. It is the beginning of a relentless, beautiful machine. The cycles begin again and again.